All right. Hello, everyone. Today we're gonna read the Odyssey. The Odyssey. I don't know how to pronounce exactly, but the Odyssey. I think I'm gonna say the Odyssey. The Odyssey. The Odyssey. I don't know how to pronounce it, but we're gonna pronounce the Odyssey. If it's wrong, please let me know in the comments. And welcome to my YouTube channel. We're gonna read the first chapter of the Odyssey, and it was created by Marvel. So one out of 8. Let's start it. Okay. Sing, O Muse, of that ingenious hero Odysseus, who traveled so far and wide after he had sacked the sacred citadel of Troy. Many were the monsters he saw, and much did he suffer by sea, while striving to bring himself and his men safely home to wives and families. First, hounded by Poseidon, god of the sea, then detained by the amorous goddess Calypso in her hollow caves. Odysseus was the only one of Troy's conquerors still alive who had not yet reached his homeland after 20 years away. The era of the Odyssey. More than 3,000 years ago, if the legendary poet Homer is to be believed, an ancient army of Greeks, Achaeans, besieged the city of Troy, on the westernmost shores of Asia. Its cause was the abduction, or perhaps elopement, of the Spartan queen Helen at the hands of the Trojan prince Paris. For 9 years, Troy's wall held out, and her champions, such as Hector and Aeneas, turned back the Achaean host under King Agamemnon, which included such heroes as his brothers Menelaus, Helen's rightful husband, Achilles, Odysseus, Nestor, and others. But in the 10th year, Troy fell and was utterly destroyed. Yet that was not the end of the Achaeans' troubles. Because of the enmity of certain gods, many of the victors were long delayed in returning home across the sea, and some never reached it alive. 10 years after the destruction of Troy, one of the greatest of them, Odysseus, warrior king of the Isle of Ithaca, still had not returned to his homeland. In Olympus, the gods met in council. Father Zeus, my heart inquired for Odysseus. For 7 years, Calypso was held him on her island. I've not forgotten that, wisest of warriors, Athena, my daughter. Then witnesses how Calypso tries to make him forgetful of his native land, but he prays only to see again the smoke of his own chimneys. Yes, it is time we helped him return home, while my brother Poseidon lingers in Ethiopia. Then speed Hermes, messenger of the gods, to the isle of Ogygia to so inform Calypso, while I go to put heart into Odysseus' son Telemachus. So saying, Athena bound on her glittering golden sandals with which she can fly over land or sea, she grasped her redoubtable bronze shod spear, with which she quells the ranks of heroes who have displeased her, and she parted from the topmost summit of the Olympus. Soon she stood before Odysseus' palace in Ithaca, where she took the guise of a visitor. Passing through the gateway, she beheld in the lordly suitors of Odysseus' wife Penelope. So engrossed were they in eating up the king's sheep and oxen being waited upon by his servants. that for a time no one saw the stranger looming in the doorway. Brooming amid the sweaters, said Telemachus, thinking of how his brave father would send them flying out of the house if he were only here. And then he saw the man. Welcome to our house, wayfarer. I am Telemachus. I'm sorry you were kept waiting. I am Mantis, chief of the Taphians. I was told your Siri had come home. We'll never see him again, and I heard nothing but dismay. If my father were alive, they would pray for longer legs. Listen, singing comes cheap to those who do not pay for it. These cursed suitors want my mother to wed one of them, and make him lord over Ithaca. Lad, I speak as it is born in upon me from heaven, and I assure you he'll not be away much longer. While paying court to my mother, these chiefs of Ithaca and all Ireland are eating up my house, and she will neither say that she will not marry, nor yet bring matters to an end. So they are making havoc of my state. Heed my advice, Telemachus. Take a good ship and 20 men, and go in quest of your father. Ask first Nestor and Pylus, then Menelaus and Sparta, for a word of him. For myself, I must return to my ship and my crew. But remember what I've said to you. And Telemachus knew then that this stranger had been a god. Upstairs, Penelope heard the barb at his lyre. Oh, sad were the returns from Troy, and the woes laid upon the Achaeans. Timaeus, you know many another feat of gods and heroes. Sing one of those, for this song reminds me of my lost husband, whom I mourn without ceasing. Shameless suitors, in the morning I want you to depart. It is past time you feasted at one another's homes at your own cost. Telemachus, the gods have given you lessons in blusters and tall talking. I will be chief in my own house, Antinous. All this is your mother's fault, not ours. For 4 years she has encouraged first one of us then another. Then she began work on an enormous needlework. She could not wed again, she said, till she had woven a shroud for Odysseus' father, Laertes, to keep for when the old man dies. All day every day she labored, but at night she would secretly unpick the stitches again. Thus she fooled us for 3 years, till one of her maids betrayed her, so that she had to finish. None of us will live here till she has made her choice. Eia, Eurymachus. She must marry someone or the other of us. I warn you, if you persist, Zeus shall reckon with you in full. As Telemachus spoke, the Father of God sent 2 eagles from the top of the mountain. High above the assembled suitors, they wheeled and circled about, beating the air with their wings, fighting fiercely and tearing at one another. Then, glaring death into the eyes of them that were below, they flew off toward the right over the town. What can all this mean? Halitherses, you are the best reader of omens among us. When Odysseus set out for Troy, I made a prophecy that after much hardship he would return in the 20th year to deal out death and destruction. Go home, old man, and prophesy to your own children. Birds are always flying about. It seldom means anything. Odyssey lies dead in far country, and you seek to curry favor with his son. Telemachus, send your mother back to her father to provide her with new marriage gifts. Till then, we will fear no man and continue eating up your state. Then the son of Odysseus prayed along by the seaside, and Athena answered him, "If you are made of the same stuff as your father, you will search for him. I myself will find a ship for you, and you put to sea without delay, nor shall your voyage be fruitless." Euryclea, you were nurse and housekeeper to my father. Get wine and barley meal together, and say nothing to any man. I leave this night for Sparta and Pylos to learn my father's fate. Do not go, my dear child, the one hope of this house. If you leave, those wicked ones will scheme to do you evil. Fear not, my scheme is not without heaven's sanction. Say nothing of this to my mother till I have been gone 10 or 12 days. I do not want her to spoil her beauty by crime. In the meantime, Athena took the shape of Telemachus and went to Noemon, master of ships. I am sorry to rouse you while darkness is over the land, but I must have a ship and 20 men to crew her. I will happily provide a ship to Odysseus' son. The gods will bless you, Noemon. Next to wisdom, goddess went to the palace of Odysseus and caused the sweeter's drink to fuddle them, so that they were thrown into a deep slumber. Then she sent a fair wind from the west, and the ship sped on her way through the watches of the night from dark till dawn. The sun was rising from the sea into the firmament of heaven when it reached Pylos, where he made himself known to the king of Nestor. I seek news of my unhappy father Odysseus. You recall to my mind a time of much sorrow, my young friend. Though you question me forever, I could not tell you all the Achaeans suffered in those 10 years, both at sea, and then when fighting before the cold city of King Priam. Many of our best men fell there, Patroclus, my own son Antilochus. Achilles fell by an arrow shot by Paris, who had caused the war, and great Ajax, who went mad and slew cattle and sheep, them himself. Agamemnon, commander of the host, made it safe home to Lacedaemon, only to be slaughtered by his faithless wife's lover, Aegisthus. Now the people sing the praises of young Orestes for killing his father murderer and his own mother. Yet heaven has hidden the knowledge of whether my father is alive or dead. Agamemnon's brothers, Menelaus, made it home with as much treasure as his ship could carry, and with fair Helen. I will send you to his city by chariot, escorted by my son Pisistratus. When the two youths reached the low-lying city of Lacedaemon, they drove straight to the abode of Menelaus, and found his gathering clan feasting and being entertained by lyre and tumblers, at the wedding of his son Metapentes, and also of his daughter Hermione. Menelaus himself greeted them. "Welcome, sons of scepter-bearing kings. I fear know nothing of his whereabouts. I would learn, sire, if you know why my father has not returned home after 20 years. I myself was 8 years old. I myself was 8 years getting home, wandering amid the Egyptians, the Phoenicians, Menelaus. Do we know the names of these visitors? Never yet have I seen anyone so like someone else as the young man is like Odysseus. My dear Helen, this is Telemachus. I see the likeness just as you do. He left you behind as a baby, Telemachus, when the Achaeans went to Troy with battle in their hearts on account of my shameless self. Speak to me of my father, dear lady. I cannot name every single exploit of Odysseus, but I can say what he did when he was before Troy. When the Acadians needed information, he covered himself with bruises and rags, and gained entrance to the city looking like a beggar. I alone recognized him, but I swore not to betray him, for my heart was beginning to yearn after my home, my lawful husband, and my little girl. Now no, Telemachus, that Odysseus devised the wooden horse that we left up on that far shore, before we sailed away a distance and hid ourselves waiting. The Trojans dragged the towering thing into their city, as a symbol of their imagined triumph over us. Within its carved belly crouched a number of us Achaeans, lying in wait to bring carnage upon the Trojans. You came, wife, with your new husband Deiphobus, brother of dead Paris, and some god who wished the Trojans well must have set you to it. 3 times you walked around our hiding place, calling each of our chiefs by name, Diomedes, Odysseus, Menelaus, Anticlus, and then you mimicked all their wives. You say from my side, no longer Diomedes. I've come to try to find you, Odysseus. Diomedes and I were tempted to spring out, but Odysseus held us all in check. Have you missed my kisses, Anticlus? Anticlus was beginning to answer you, when Odysseus clapped his brawny hand over his mouth. He muzzled Anticlus, to intend to look you away again. Late that night, while Troy slept, we emerged, and let it in our countrymen who had returned in secret. And we destroyed that far-famed city. As for your father, I'll tell you all that the old man of the sea told me during our voyage home. You have tidings of him? When my crew and I were most desperate, we learned that if you hold tight to Proteus, servitor of Poseidon, he'll tell you the way home, and all that has gone on while you have been away. At dawn, the old man of the sea came to shore, as 3 of us hid amongst his sails. When we seized him, he changed himself first into a lion, then a dragon, a bird, a wild boar, then into running water, and even a mighty tree. But we had fast until, what do you want, son of Atreus? We desired to know many things, and he told us them all, even that Odysseus is a prisoner of the nymph Calypso. Then we released him, he dived back into the waters, and I turned back to the ships with my companions. After that we had a quick passage home with a favoring wind. Stay with us a while longer, Telemachus. I must go, Menelaus, and return to Ithaca. Meanwhile, the Swedes were throwing spears at the mark on the level ground before Odysseus' house, and behaving with all their old insolence, while their ringleaders watched. Antinous, Eurymachus, have you an idea when Telemachus will return from Pylos? He has a ship of mine, and I've used for it. What? We thought he was on the farm of his grandfather Laertes. This voyage of Telemachus is a very serious matter, Antinous. Comrades, Telemachus means to give us trouble. May Zeus take him before he is full grown. Find me a ship with a crew of 20 men, and I will lie in wait for him. He will then rule the day that he set out, seeking news of his father. What is it, faithful maiden, mistress? Telemachus has gone to Pylos to seek news of his sire, and the Swedes are plotting to kill him as he sails home. First I lost my lion-hearted husband. Now my son is at the mercy of winds and waves and murderers. Hear me, Athena, daughter of Zeus. If ever Odysseus born in you fed thy bones, or of sheep or heifer, save my dear son. So praying she sank into a slumber. And Athena sent to her a vision in the likeness of her sister Iptim, who now dwelt in far off Pheræ. The gods will not suffer you to weep and be so sad. Take heart, for Athena has gone with Telemachus. It is she who has compassion upon you and sent me to bear you this message. Then tell me also about that other unhappy one, my brave husband. Is he still alive, or is he already dead? And if the house of Hades, I shall not tell you, and there is no use in idle conversation. Then the phantom vanished into thin air, but Penelope rose from her sleep refreshed and comforted, so vivid had been her dream. Meanwhile the suitors sailed to a rocky islet in mid-channel between Ithaca and Samos, and placed themselves in ambush. Next see God's wrath. Glossary of the Odyssey. Abode, a place in which a person resides, dwelling, home. Ambush, an act or instance of attacking unexpectedly from a concealed position. Amorous, inclined or disposed to love. Bard, a poet, special lyric poet. Chariot, citadel, comrade, carry favor. To seek to advance oneself through flattery or fawning. Guise, general external appearance, expect, semblance. Heifer, a young cow over 1 year old that has not produced a calf. Ingenious, Io, Lear, Mimic, Muse, Nymph, Phantom, Quell, Redoutable, Rue, Scepter, Shroud, Syre, Sweeter, Summit, Tidings, Wayfarer. Okay, that was it. Thank you guys. See you next video.